Good morning, welcome back to Part 2 Garden. It has been a week since I shot the last video, so we're going to see what else is looking good around here. This is the view off my neighbor's back patio. So this is what he gets to see when he comes out of his house. So first plant here on the left, this is Amsonia Stormcloud. This is the Proven Winners introduction. Always a good performer here. It's not my favorite of all the Amsonias. I wish it held the dark color in the stems longer, but still really nice. This is Lychnis Petite Jenny. Short-lived, nice pink flower. So this here is Maria. It's an iris relative. I've had this for a few years now. Always a really nice yellow on this. One of the nice things we do have with this here in our garden is the foliage tends to stay evergreen through the winter, which most of our perennials do not. But always a good performer. This started blooming the other day. It's already had a couple flowers are spent on it, but there's plenty more still that are budded up and awaiting to open for us. This Nepeta here, this is Snowflake. For some reason it's not commonly found in the trade, but this thing will keep blooming from now until October, November, and unlike other Nepetas, I don't ever have to cut this back to get it to rebloom. It just constantly keeps flowering. So yeah, no reason why it shouldn't be out in the trade more readily available. The Peonia ostii that I had shown you before, when it was closed, it's finally open a little bit this morning with a little bit of sunshine we're having right now. But it's past peak. Some of the flowers are already done. My neighbor has a nice Kwanzaa cherry. Always puts on a really nice show in the spring. Makes a little bit of a mess in my yard, but I welcome the organic matter. So this tree peony here, this is Shima Nishiki. So it's got 3 colors to it. This rosy red pink that you're seeing now, and sometimes you'll see like a marbled white pattern in the leaves, and sometimes even a little bit lighter pink. So not fully open yet, but really nice tree peony. This was relocated 2 years ago from a different spot in the yard because I had some work done on the exterior of the house. So this had to get moved, and it's finally starting to recover from the transplant. And right above it, this is Amsonia Tabernae Montana Grande. This might be my favorite of all the Amsonias. It's always been a good performer for me. The texture is not as fine as Amsonia Hubertii, but I appreciate this a lot more. This Phlomis that sits in front of Shima Nishiki here, this is Paleface. This is the first year for it in the garden, and it is exploding. There's going to be tons of flowers on this. Probably by Monday, we're supposed to get some really hot temperatures, so things are really going to start bursting open. But yeah, I planted that last year, so this is the first full year in the garden for that. I have this little Hamamelis Little Prospect. It's in a container off the patio. Nice variegated foliage. It is a Virginiana, so it blooms in the fall. It's not a good bloomer. I would say you're not buying it for the flowers. but the color on the leaves this time of year is really nice. I do recommend planting in an area that has protection from hot afternoon sun during the summer. Sometimes these leaves do get a little bit of scorch on them. And right below it, this is Centaurea. This is Amethyst Dream. It's a really nice color. As you can see, the petals from the cherry make a little mess in the pond. So I've always been a sucker for geums, and they're not reliably hardy around here. They're so finicky, I feel like, in Pennsylvania, especially in Zone 7. Our soils around here, I guess, aren't the greatest for it. But this is Alabama Slammer. This is one of the few that actually has been a perennial for me and has been reliable. This is a Juga incisa Blue Enigma. I really like this plant, even though it can be sort of a thug. It does spread rapidly through its underground rhizomes, but the color is worth having in the garden this time of year. So I just kind of rip them up and maintain it at this nice little pocket along the pathway here. And all my coworkers and friends get pieces of this every year to put in their own garden if they please. So yeah, it's definitely a plant you can share with people very readily. So this is Epimedium Dark Side. It's a really nice two-tone purple. It's a smaller epimedium that's only about 8 inches tall. And right behind it, this is Ethereum, and this is Ghost. This is a really nice of the Japanese painted fern. It's actually a hybrid of another fern with the Japanese painted. But yeah, the contrast off the purple there with the silver. The native geranium maculatum, along with the Disporum flavans. We kind of missed the past peak a little bit, but you can still see the little yellow flowers. This is Polygonatum fireworks. Really nice variegation for polygonums. It's taller. It's a nice plant. It's definitely very vigorous. So if you have this in your garden, definitely be ready to dig up pieces and give away to people. This back here is one of my favorite of all the hostas. This is Polygonatum double wide. This was given to me by a coworker of mine a couple years ago, and it's finally starting to spread a little bit for me. Sorry about that. I had neighbors walking by with dogs. So this was this is First Frost. So the other geum that's been a good performer for me is Totally Tangerine. Now this has been here for at least 5 years. So definitely the longest lived geum in my garden. And I smashed this Brunner in right behind it to have that contrast in the early spring. So I think the last plant I'm going to show you today, this is a dwarf iris. This is Iris odinensis, and it is only about 3 inches tall. It's a very hard to come by iris. If you can find one, I would say purchase it. It likes to have some shade, especially during the afternoon. And this purchase was from John O'Brien out of Connecticut, but I believe you can get this through Plant Delights from Tony Avon. So yeah, I think that's going to be today's tour. And oh, let me just show you this one right here. This is another polygonatum. So this is, it used to be called Carlisle, was the cultivar name. And then I believe it's been trademarked now, and I think it's called Angel Wings. This might be the best of the variegated, in my opinion. It's definitely I wouldn't say aggressive, but it's definitely happy, and it spreads well. And I think the variegation width on it with the white is way better than double wide or even double stuff or any of the other heavily variegated polygonatums. And yeah, thanks for checking in. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep posting. Hopefully one day this week when I get home from work, we have some really hot weather coming our way, so we're gonna have things really bursting open quickly now. Just need some rain.